Hey guys, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about
Labenda awaits.
Labenda awaits. Now, am I the only one who thought that Labenda was the bin?
Too much Spanish in high school? On Twitter, someone pointed out, have you ever noticed a lot of things that Matt deals with in swamps have Ben in the name? And Matt replied, it's almost as if it's based on a common language. And then people start speculating, and later on he's like, no, a completely fictional made-up language. So now the speculation is that Matt is creating his own language to go along with Exandria.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either.
I think it's a trick that authors use, fantasy authors. You don't have to create the whole language. Just a couple words.
Just enough to give it syntax.
Yep. And if you have the logic in your brain on how it's supposed to work, then you can sort of do that. George R.R. Martin didn't create all of the Dothraki language.
That's true.
That didn't have to be done until they made the show, and they hired linguists to do it.
Well,
based on what he'd done.
How long after Klingons were speaking did they finally come out with the language? I think that was something that wasn't initially creator-driven as well, wasn't it?
I don't think so, yeah. I think it was... Well... Shoot, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. Because I know it was early, and Vulcan also was fairly early.
As far as them speaking it, or as far as the full language was
a full language.
Oh, okay.
And Klingon is taught at universities, so... which is one of the reasons why Paramount had the problem with Axanar. Because that was one of the claims that Paramount was making, was that they were violating their copyright to the language. And Axanar had a bunch of linguists file amicus briefs that said, it's a living language because people are speaking it, and that means you can't own it.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Does that mean you can copyright Latin now?
No.
It's a dead language.
Well, it was a living language. And technically, you could argue it's still living because of the derivatives of it. But anyway.
We digress.
And the other side of that coin is it's obviously in the common domain because it's old.
Public domain.
Public domain, yeah. So anyway.
Back to Critical Role, the reason why you guys tuned in.
Yep. So we had both a lot and not a lot happening.
Yes.
This episode. Just kidding, so I can see chat, guys. And I didn't have a whole lot. Last week I had a bunch of notes. This week, not a lot. And most of mine are on yacht. But right now we have Caleb on the stream, and I think I have the least on him. So why don't we start with him?
Okay, what do you got on Caleb?
I like you all. You're nice people, I think is how he said it, or something like that.
I genuinely like you all. You're very nice people.
Yeah, just completely deadpan and like no emotion in it. And they were like, "Is he blushing?" And she's like, "Yep, he's turning a little pink.
The ears are turning pink."
Yeah. That was fun. That was really the only thing that I had on Caleb.
Yeah. Well, we've had several weeks.
Oh yeah, well it's heavy Caleb.
Heavy Caleb, so
yeah.
He kind of faded to the background a little bit this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. I think that he's kind of still playing that whole feed in, these guys are my protection, so give them what they want, keep them around.
I don't think so.
No?
I think Liam has made the decision, for whatever reason, that Caleb does genuinely like them.
Well, yes.
And that it's not a to get use out of them.
No, but now it's more of two of them know things about me.
Yeah.
I need to toe the line so it doesn't spread further. Because he even states that he doesn't fully trust Not yet.
Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah.
So part of it is to guard his own secrets in his past, which we've covered.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's about it for Caleb this week. Sorry, Liam.
Alright. Beauregard.
Bo.
Don't have a lot on her, except that she called Molly Percy.
Yes.
Which is hilarious. And she rolled d6 instead of d8.
Yes.
Although all of them, everybody, was making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But we've said previously we don't want to use this to call them out. But boy, was there a lot.
You know, and it's something we'll touch again when we hit Molly, but both of them seem to be very distrustful of their new ward. Very cautious, very not sure they wanted to take her with them in Kenku.
Yeah.
And
well, I think Bo is because she doesn't know what it is. And Molly, I think, is probably concerned at the Kenku's skill at mimicry.
Yeah.
Matt was on it, man.
Yeah, his impressions were pretty good this time around.
They were giving him shade about his jester voice.
Yeah.
When Laura was gone, but he came to play last night. Like, yeah. I think that's where his brain was for most of the session.
Yeah.
Because he knew he had to play that Kenku, so he was trying to pick up everything.
Do you think he made it a Kenku so he could be like, yeah, I brought my A game?
No.
Okay.
I think
it was the Kenku was already planned.
Yep.
And
it's
like, now I've got to do it.
Yep. Because like he said in that, well, let's cover that when we go to the story. So,
okay.
Why I think the Kenku was there.
That was the other thing I had for Bo was the kind of hesitancy. And I'm not entirely sold that it's just she doesn't know what it is. Especially being a Cobalt soul, she's supposed to be finding out things.
Yeah.
So it would almost seem like
but
that would
we haven't seen her do
more.
that yet.
Other than pressing Caleb for secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like on the monster side, she didn't try to figure out what Sith Duthar was.
This is true.
So, and at the introduction of the connection between her and the Cobalt Soul, it was fairly evident that they didn't think she was a very good.
True. True.
So yeah, I think her story with the Cobalt Reserve is going to be, or Cobalt Soul, is going to be one of comically in the right place at the right time.
Okay. Bill Murray type of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. Let's hit Yasha. It's a lot.
Let's hit Yasha to make sure we have time to hit everybody.
Yeah.
Well, the very first thing happened early,
Yes.
and that's we learned that she's a sympathy puker.
Yeah.
With
I
the
love
whole-
the Ren and Stimpy reference,
Yeah.
and it came back again a couple times throughout the episode.
Yes.
Include like the log song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's skip over the solo portion for a second.
Okay.
Just because that's the meat of it.
That's basically where most of my notes are, yeah.
But when she's talking with Not, she's collecting the flowers and the bits of nature for someone specific. Do you think it's the Storm Lord? I don't.
I think that was a lie.
You think that was a lie? You think it's for her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why? Does it have to do with the solo sequence?
No.
Okay.
No, that's my insight check on
Okay.
on Yasha. Is I think she was lying to Not. Not of all of them has been the most antagonistic toward her in trying to pry.
True. That's true.
And
was she a Jorhessian spy? Are we all dead in our sleep?
Yeah.
Make a perception check.
Yeah. So I think she's the least willing to share with Not, especially after the big party, and she was told by just about everybody that was not a good idea that you told him how long you've been here. So I think she's playing things a little closer to her vest, especially after some of the stuff that got dropped in that solo sequence just before.
See,
because there was some big stuff that the first time I watched it, I missed. And the second time I watched it, I missed. That I didn't catch until my third watch of that scene.
Okay. Well, we'll go into it. You may have more than I do. I have quite a bit, but because I only got to do one watch through.
Yeah.
I got busy with life and work and things, and just got the chance to do a once through.
Yeah.
But I did have to go to the backside of my paper for my notes on that.
Yeah. So why don't we go from the opening of that solo scene, since that's basically where this is all starting.
Okay.
Because that's where my notes begin for Yasha.
Okay.
And that is, she sees somebody she knows. The back of her.
No. She sees everybody. And they all have their back to her. Everybody she knew has turned their back.
Yeah.
In that first glimpse.
So that to me is taking her back to, because basically.
So was she an exile?
Yes.
That's what I think too.
Or she was an outsider because of what she is. One of the two.
No, and see, the reason I think it's exile is I think, and we'll kind of get into it a little more, but if you remember, at one point, and I can't remember what episode it was, but she talks about, well, sometimes when kids are mean, it was when Ford was talking about his teeth. What, you didn't just kill them?
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, have you? And she's just like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. She's like, no, we're talking about Ford.
Yeah.
I think she lost her temper.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and because Matt and the cast have mentioned how big of a help Xanathar was.
Yeah.
And one of the barbarian options in Xanathar is you became a barbarian to channel your rage, that otherwise you would be an uncontrollable killing machine.
Yeah. So
I think that's sort of the direction that Yasha went.
Possibly. But I think she's in exile because she killed. And maybe as a kid, maybe she was a teenager and killed some kids that were younger than her.
Yeah. Well, do we think that that's when she became a fallen?
Possibly. Well, we'll get into that as we progress here. Second burst of light. Stone of a figure. Cracked. Partial face.
No, the second one was the burning hands. The burning of her arms.
Yes, the hands wreathed in fire.
Yep.
And everyone dead.
Yep. Now.
So, did she pull an Anakin?
I have a slightly different interpretation of that sequence.
Okay.
Because when Matt describes it, he's talking about people, beast. He doesn't say it's the same people.
It's true.
That were there before. So I got the feeling that was...
Anakin committed two very different slaughterings. You got the same people in the younglings.
Yeah, that's true. But I got the feeling that was not just the past, but also the future.
Okay.
Because basically it was her looking upon all of her victims.
Okay.
Past, present, and future.
Okay, I can see that.
And I think that black fire represents the necrotic.
Yeah, the bluish dark.
Yeah.
And then it
not her ASMR ability. Not the fallen ASMR, but her
Order of the Zealot, Righteous Fury.
Yes, Righteous Fury.
Because that flame turns to blood on her hands.
Yes.
So those are her victims for sure.
Yeah.
Whether they're past, present, future, or a slaughter that happened, which is what,
Yeah.
Which I do think it was after the at least partially, if you're right, but after the exile, because I think these are in order of.
Yeah,
and I do want to real quick mention, Matt makes the statement at the very beginning. You're going through memories. Not all memories are good for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think he meant it in that not all memories are pleasant, some are painful. I think he meant some things you probably don't, shouldn't remember.
Yeah. And then next was the ruined statue of the Stormlord.
Yes. So, is this her finding the Stormlord? Stormlord finding her? Was he an abandoned deity?
Yes. And Matt used a very key phrase when he was describing the statue and how it was. Mm-hmm. He said, as if the land
had rejected
it.
Yep.
And we've been talking almost since day one about the Fisher King, the Arthurian Grail, which I think that dodecahedron is essentially the Grail.
Okay.
It will.
The dodecahedron-shaped light in the castle.
When I made that connection, that's immediately where my brain went to. I was like, all right, we got to go to Castle Anthrax. Yep.
Yes. And there will be spankings for all. Then she's leaving home. And home is covered in worms.
The land is infected.
So,
and she is drawn to a mountain.
Okay, so where my brain went, and it could be that it's the obvious answer. It could be that I grew up in mortuaries and digging graves was my first job. But worm food. Yeah. Not just the land, but sometimes when you refer to the land, you're referring to the indigenous people. And that's what it took me as.
Oh. Well, again, where my brain is with the Fisher King and Arthur, that the land is rotten because of the evil nature that's going on.
Okay.
Now, and I think so. this scene is why my brain went to the dodecahedron is the Holy Grail.
Okay.
Is what Percival needs to bring back to return the land to life. And I think Yasha is Percival.
Okay. Okay, I can see that.
So, because I don't want to get it. That's getting ahead. But
yes.
She is drawn to a mountain. We haven't found out which mountain that is.
Ararat.
But I think that's why she came to the Empire.
Okay.
And I don't know if she's just walking toward every mountain that she sees in the distance to see, is this the right one? Nope. Okay, on to the next one. I don't know. But the mountain represents something in the Empire, I think. And it could also be the tower in Jorhas, or Zadash.
Okay.
That cracked. Because mountains and towers are interchangeable in a lot of myths and story. They both represent high places, close to the gods.
The mountain could also be representative of the Empire, where they're going to the Empire to find.
Now, Matt hasn't told us where in the Pantheon either the Traveler, which we again think is Garmelie, or the Stormlord, which seems to be an actual deity.
Yeah, Stormlord is an actual deity, I think.
Yeah, so do I.
The Traveler, not so much.
Yeah.
Again, Cash and forget his god's name, Besh.
Yeah, I think.
She's not a deity. She's not part of the Pantheon.
Yeah.
Garmelie's not part of the Pantheon.
Yeah.
Vecna, even at Ascension, wasn't part of the Pantheon.
Right. So we get that introduction to the Stormlord. The statue is already broken. The land is rejecting it.
Yes.
And then the next...
And see, that land is rejecting it. That's what made me think, in the next scene with the worms, the land was talking about the people.
Well, see, this could also be like Yasha has this connection with the Stormlord because she was rejected.
Mm-hmm.
So both of them being rejected.
Right.
So this is not only a redemption arc for her, but for the Stormlord.
Yeah. Which could come into play if we're right, our overarching end game.
Yep.
They're going to need new trammels. They are going to have learned about why they're weakened, so they're going to know they can't go to the same gods.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to go to new gods to get new trammels so that they don't release Vecna when they rechain the Chained Oblivion.
Yeah.
So.
It's true.
Yeah. Which is what I thought of during this whole thing. It's like, okay, so he might be
Yeah.
And if I'm right about, I almost said Percy, but Molly, because he had that brooch, if he is worshiping Bahamut, that could be another trammel.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Traveler, because he's not Pantheon. But then again, at one point, the Raven Queen wasn't Pantheon.
That's true.
So, maybe it's a redemption arc for the Stormlord and an ascension arc for Garmelie.
Yeah.
So and I'm just spitballing. The only one that I think we're going to see for sure is the Stormlord involved in that. But if we're going to go there, let's look at who else is worshipping or possibly worshipping who. Hey, none of those are ones they use in the trammels.
That's true. Yeah.
So this could end up being that.
Yeah.
So that's like a far out, no basis wild speculation that I'm not claiming just yet. I'm just throwing it out there.
But the Storm Lord comes down, shakes the land when he does. And Matt had a thing for a quarter mile in this episode. But he reassures her she is on the right path.
Well, okay, so before we hear the voice, and it's the first time she hears his voice.
Yeah.
Matt makes a statement that I think is very profound. And he's talking to you're sitting there, you're thinking how to make it right. Bringing us back to that redemption, bringing us back to that worry, bringing us back to why she's so guarded, why she goes off alone, why she's afraid to go past the church group crush with Bo, because she thinks she's got to make this right before she can. That's why when Jester healed her, she was like, "Oh, I'm not worthy of that." She has all this low self-esteem issues because of whatever happened. With everyone turning their back, she doesn't think she's worthy of the rest of the 9 caring about her.
Yeah. So do you think she finds redemption in tier 3, tier 4, or not until the very end?
I think it's a process that gaps 3 and 4. Because I think she's got to get there and then get there in herself and then prove it by getting the trammel from the Stormlord at the end.
And does she become a protector? Ask me at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
I think, see, now, again, throwing just random, this just hit me. Okay. So, when was Grog most in need of flight?
In the Vecna fight. And the lead up to that, yeah.
She flips in the Chained Oblivion fight and is able to fly.
Matt doesn't tell her until that moment.
Yes.
That would be cool.
That would be so cool. She just, in the fight, she pops her and expecting it to be the necrotic, and Matt describes it as the radiant, and she's capable of flight, and I can just see the look on her face and everybody else's.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So that would be a great thing if that happened.
Yeah.
And that just hit me as a possibility, but that would be amazing.
Yeah. So, Stormlord says you're on the right path. He also says, chased this beacon. You have chased this beacon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm like, okay. She, in some ways, is after the dodecahedron. Because the Drow refer to it as the beacon.
Yes. Well, he says, you walk the right path. This is at the very end. You walk the right path. Be strong. Don't forget who you were.
Yep.
So
decide who you are going to become.
Decide who you're going to become.
Yep.
And I think that has to do with the becoming fallen going back.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, there was a lot in that scene, and it's taken us almost 15 minutes talking about it.
And that was just Matt monologuing to Ashley, and Ashley just
yeah. The only other thing I have is a superstition that I have at my table. And she spilled her drink on her character sheet.
Yeah.
And the superstition is if your character sheet becomes stained with food or beverage, that character is immortal. Like, they will not die. Because every time it's happened, that character never dies. They live to the end, no matter what happens.
See, now I want to spill a drink on my character.
It can't be intentional. That's the other thing. It has to be an accident.
Oops. Can't do anything to me, Dan.
Nope, doesn't work that way. It has to be an accident. So yeah, I think, is that all we have for Yasha?
Yeah.
All right. Not. So, I really only have a question.
Okay.
About Not. And that is, did she follow Yasha to the tree?
No.
Because here's why I say that I had that question. Because Sam joked. He's like, "What, you gotta pee?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she wanders off to the tree.
He says, "I won't watch." And he goes, "I
watch." So that to me says he was following her. And he was probably close enough. And I think Sam was in his brain as she's saying her prayer to the Storm Lord and carving into the tree. I think Sam in his brain was like, "Oh, shit, this is more than I thought it was going to be. Do I want to incorporate this, that I snuck up on her and saw this?"
Huh.
I think that's what's going through his brain when that's happening.
Okay.
And it's kind of a big deal if she did follow her.
Yes.
Because she would be the only one who witnessed and noticed the carving.
Yes.
Despite the fact that Ford went to the tree, Molly went to the tree.
Yeah. Did you get the vibe there's a little metagaming going on there?
Yeah.
Especially with Molly.
Yeah. And I think Matt got the same vibe.
I think Ashley got the same vibe with her facial expression. Like, really, guys?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So a couple of things. I'm just going to touch on the flask because it says there's a picture of a baby. It says, "Do not follow at Side by Samuel," which is Sam's second Twitter. And then at the bottom it says, "or eat babies."
That's a reference to the last week's episode.
Yeah. They had a big 10-minute ordeal, 5-minute ordeal about how much the flask holds. And what I took from it is it's always about half full.
Yeah, probably. What's interesting is most magical artifacts that do that have a limited production per day.
Right.
And usually it is the confines of the vessel.
Right.
Or sometimes twice the size of the vessel.
Well, he specifically stated never runs out.
Yeah.
So it could just be perpetually half full.
Yeah.
Although they, not that there's exact math to it, but it seemed like they drank about half of it, and he said, "Yeah, it seems about half full." So it could be that.
Yeah. The other thing that was kind of sad is Not didn't get her double speed from the haste spell.
Yeah.
But if she had, she probably would have died sooner.
True.
Or she would have gotten another attack because she wouldn't have had to use the action to death.
Yes. And I like that he marked off 2 death saving failures because of Ford's pun.
Yeah.
Nope, I just failed 2 from that pun.
Not today.
Yes.
Yeah. She also became attached to Kiri.
Yes. Gave her a kiss and everything.
Now, one of the things that was said, and it was almost offhandedly, and it leads credence to my theory about not,
Okay.
was when they were talking to Kiri about how old she was.
Mm-hmm.
And Jester says, well, you're only a little older than her. She says, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
She only remembers 6 years. Now, Trent, we know, is an enchanter.
Okay.
And their modified memory is way better than standard modified memory.
Yes, it is.
You can wipe somebody clean.
Yes.
So what if Trent and the other guy, whose name I'm blanking on because I don't have my notes from last week in front of me, the one that Knott's looking for,
Okay.
that I said polymorphed her.
Dolan,
yeah.
or Doolin.
Doolin, yeah. Polymorphed her. Trent wipes her memory, and they send her out. And I just thought of something else. What if this is an Obsidian Order type operation?
Okay.
There's an episode of Deep Space Nine where Kira gets kidnapped, taken back to Cardassia. She's surgically altered to look Cardassian, and they try to tell her that she is the daughter of
This
a
guy
Legate.
they're trying to out.
Yeah. And she's like, it's not me. And they didn't expect the drugs to work on her because they wouldn't, because she wasn't really the agent.
Right.
But we learned that the Obsidian Order does shit like that. So what if the Empire does stuff like that?
Maybe. I still like my theory that she's a sign of the curse on goblinoids weakening, lessening. I think that...
And the other thing that I thought
she's
of
going
was, what
back
if she's
to...
Caleb's girlfriend? The one that he fell in love with?
I don't
we talked
think
about,
so.
did the pair of them, after he left, did they hook up? But is she the polymorph lover?
I don't think either of those things happened. I don't think she's the polymorph lover, and I don't think they ever hooked up.
It's my secret one.
Yes, she said she doesn't remember, and you could take that she only remembers 6 years back, but she doesn't even remember that she didn't even know she was 6.
Yeah.
So she didn't necessarily remember 6 years. She just remembered they didn't really count years in her goblin tribe. That wasn't a thing. So that was a foreign concept to her when she learned about it. And that's why she doesn't know how old she is. And that's why they dub her as 9 years old today, because they don't celebrate birthdays or the concept of growing a year older. They have the concept of you
live fast and die fast.
Yeah, you live fast, die fast. You've gone through puberty. You can breed. You're an adult.
Yeah.
And that's how I took that. Both theories have merit. I like mine.
Yeah. I mean, they both play into what we've said in the sort of the overarching thing.
Yes.
But, yeah. Is that all for not?
That's it for not.
Molly.
Molly
needs a bow. Or my wish upon a star for him is a gun.
So, what was going through my head that entire fight, and I've said this about Molly multiple weeks in a row, but I'm going to say it for everybody this week. It would have been so nice if one of them had the mobility. Because you spend your action to dash. Now all that difficult terrain doesn't impede you. You get your full movement on both of them.
Yeah, and Molly's the one that you say needs it the most.
Yes. That was going through my mind. I was like, okay, so any of them had...
Yeah, but Molly getting a gun would solve the problem now. And
true.
And I think... So I'm almost positive Taliesin is purposefully avoiding ranged weapons.
I think Taliesin would, even if he went with a ranged weapon, would stay away from guns.
I
with
think
this
so
character.
too. And that's also one of the reasons why I want it.
I think Molly is the least likely to pick up a gun.
Except if you could make the argument that he should be more like Porthos.
True, but given Taliesin, given the last character, that's why I say
Yeah, well, I agree.
Not a character development, but
yeah, I say, I don't think it's going to happen. That's just my wish, because I would really love it for him, like from this perspective, like not just the hey, you have a ranged weapon that you can shoot people with,
right?
So you don't have to use vicious mockery, which they are going to dodge almost all the time now, and definitely all the time later.
Right.
I
mean, they did just go up to an 11 for the save.
Is the fact that I like the idea that his former character who invented these things, who made it his life's goal to prevent their spread, going so far as to impose the death penalty on anyone he found with one.
Right.
I like the idea that Taliesin's next character picks one up.
Okay. Yeah.
And is using it.
See, I see Ford as the most likely.
From an RP standpoint, yes. Mechanics, no.
Well, yeah.
I mean, a gun isn't going to be his Eldritch Blast.
But you know me, and you know that mechanics take a way back seat to true. RP for me.
That's true.
And second, and this also goes with against mechanics, Bo. I can see her being completely fascinated.
Except Bo isn't going to be able to have the proficiency unless she takes levels in fighter.
Or that feat that came out with the archetype.
Yeah.
In D&D Beyond, a feat was released that gives you proficiency with firearms. Makes you, if you're already a gunslinger, makes you a little bit better at fixing your jams when you get the misfire. I think they're the two most likely to try it out first. Maybe not keep it as a permanent fixture, but they're the two most likely to be like, I want to check this out. I want to see what this does. Play with this.
Yeah. Offhand, do you know what Yasha's dex is?
Offhand, no, but I do have my phone right here and can pull up crit roll stats.
Because she might be willing to use a gun if they were to get one. But only if her dex is decent, I think.
Yasha's dex is a 15.
So, yeah.
Her stats are 17, 15, 14, 12, 9, 7.
Yeah.
She just went highest to lowest when she stat most.
And gestures are crazy.
Yes. Jester has an 18 dex after that ASI, so yeah, she's 16, 18, 15, 12, 18, 12.
If Laura got browbeat into saving her spells for healing, a gun would be a nice damage output for her.
Yes. Jester and Bo have 18, Not has a 19, Molly has a 17, Yasha 15, Caleb 12, Ford 11.
How likely do you think that Jester gets medium armor mastery to take advantage of her dex?
If she does what Travis did and asks Twitter, or if she says, hey honey, what do you think I should grab? I think there's a better chance. If Laura is picking or Laura goes to Matt, I don't think there's going to be
Well, her next feat's probably got to be healer. I mean, that's my odds on choice.
That's what you and I would both really love to see. That's what
I think that's
will be pushed if she goes to Matt for advice.
Yeah.
If she goes to Travis, he may say Sentinel. But yeah.
So Molly is in want of a ranged weapon that isn't vicious mockery. Or in need of the mobile feat.
My vote is for mobile.
Taliesin again is in the background, and I think as long as they're working with the gentleman, I think that's going to be where he's going to really want to stay. Okay,
and going back to Kiri, and our new friend, and what I said, he and Bo, and I think you're right about the mimicry, but he doesn't seem to like new people. Ever since they met the gentleman, he's wanted to stay away from NPCs. And I think
he's terrified the next person he meets will be somebody from his past.
I think that after interacting with Kree, he is terrified of more secrets slipping out.
Yeah.
He's already shared more than he wants to, both as Molly and as Taliesin.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to take the chance of meeting anybody else from his old routine.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was the big thing that stood out about Molly to me in this episode.
All right. Jester.
We've got Jester. Did you see her lollipop? No, that's what she says to not win.
Oh.
So, when she says she's...
Yeah.
When they get in the fight over who's more powerful, Caleb or Jester.
Yeah.
Caleb can do anything. Have you seen my lollipop?
That's an interesting thing that like, I'm wondering where that's going to go. And if it will change. I'm wondering if Laura remembers anything on her character sheet still.
Oh wait, I have mending.
So, like as the episode wore on and everyone's forgetting stuff, and I think Travis was the next one to forget something really. Like he didn't roll his attack rolls.
Right.
Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
And I was like, does Travis have sympathy pregnancy brain? Because my thought was maybe Laura's suffering from that because she's getting pretty late on.
Yeah.
And I understand that that's a thing.
Yes.
So I was like, so that's sort of where I put it down at, and I was like, and then everyone started doing it, and I was like, okay, they all are experiencing sympathy.
Well, you know how friends kind of sync up.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So Jester,
and sadly, she did not get the benefit. No one got the benefit of that first guiding bolt.
Yeah.
That she cast. And in that situation, like, mechanically, I think the best thing for her to have done is cast that first guiding bolt at level 1, which I'm pretty sure she did.
Right.
She moves in, and instead of casting spiritual weapon, she cast guiding bolt again, this time at 3rd level, with advantage.
Yeah.
To try to fish for that crit and get twice 66.
Yeah.
On the damage. Because that's, if she would have done that, then there's a chance that they would have almost killed that first croc right away. I mean, it's a big if, but
again, pregnancy brain or not, we see Laura on top of things, on top of the plot, before anybody else. She finds Kiri after the fight. She's the one that's like, hey guys, remember we got this thing we just saved? The whole reason we came out here? Yeah. Although I do not like Nod's response. What are we trying to save? Well, now Jester.
Yeah. Which I think is going to be a running theme.
Yes.
As they get further along in levels and the different things that are important to their characters get put in front of them.
Yeah.
As things get dropped, where it's like, I gotta go do this. And everyone else is like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. But one thing, back to the more powerful, or isn't that what I would like to see? So Caleb is a transmuter wizard who has a whole book of cons. Who has a whole book of cons, right? That he pulls with nuts. Jester is a trickery domain.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see them who can pull the better magical prank war going on through the level ups. That's what I want to see. And I know Caleb is a little more serious about things, but...
Okay, then, yeah, for sure. Last night was foreshadowing that.
Yeah.
And with not being the fulcrum and pivot point between the two.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Jester's... The trickery cleric is always going to be enabling the rogue.
Yes.
But Jester really is into it. So, yeah, that's going to be...
Yeah.
Oh, man, can you imagine? She offers her help to do something. And the payment she wants is for not to say she's as strong as Caleb.
Payback for the hat, Sam.
Right? Oh, man.
Yeah, so that was the big thing. Jester kind of really took offense with how powerful Not thought Caleb was.
Yep.
And defended herself, and I was like, this is going to get into
Yeah. And she learned the component lesson.
Yes. Why do I even have this prepared if I can't even use it? That's a good question.
Yep.
All right. Next. And last, I believe.
Yep.
Ford.
Don't really have a lot on Ford. Most of my notes are actually on Travis, not Ford. Your luggage line, the not today, and his not rolling his attack roll.
Saddle up the doggies. He's getting really into the Texan terminology.
Now
which he's from Texas, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I knew he was a fan of Dallas. But...
Yeah. So we talked about who is the moral compass of the group.
Yeah.
And both of our top picks for that spot this episode, totally we're going to abandon that little girl.
Yes.
One before, why bother saving it?
Yep.
And
are we really going to do this
after.
now? Yeah.
That's the only interesting thing that I have to say on that aspect. Now, we're running out of time. Got just over 5 minutes left. A couple things I wanted to touch on that have to do with everybody.
Okay.
And the group dynamic at the table, and players, and criminal psychology. The breakdown they had with the wagon perfectly illustrates why criminals almost always get caught.
Yes.
Something innocuous happens, and they start panicking.
Yep.
As soon as Johnny Law is on the horizon, they start freaking out. So that made me laugh. And it's like, oh, well, here, let us help. Which goes back to what we were saying before, that, and Matt seems to be trying to reinforce this, that they see the Empire as sort of the enemy, but Matt is doing his level best to, as often as possible, show at least the people that interact with the civilian population, that interact with the subject on a regular basis, are good people who want to help.
Yeah.
And we saw that again this episode.
Yes. With Max Load.
Yeah, I was watching it with Natalie and my daughter, and she didn't quite get it. And I was like, they purposely misheard the name so they can make a joke.
Yep.
But they have learned to focus fire.
Yes.
They were really concentrating on that one crocodile. So we have them going to the swamp, or they're going to be going to the safe house. And we had the interaction with the creepy guy at the bar. We did get some cold water on the Yabo ship in that segment, now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
When Yasha is basically flirting with the guy. And then after she shuts him down, and everyone at the table's sort of cracking jokes.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, well, maybe. You never know. So I'm kind of if that's going to go anywhere. But
yeah, I think that's going back to her feeling she doesn't deserve anything.
Yeah, maybe.
If I do this with this person who has no shot, it's going to back off the one who's got a shot because I don't deserve that.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
what are they going to be fighting this week?
Kind of want to say a hag, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I think it's going to either be wolves with goblins and ogres.
Okay.
Or it will be hobgoblins, and it's going to be that. Basically, what they got ambushed with is a part of what's stopping the safe house.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be the same thing because howls were mentioned and all that stuff. The other thing is werewolves.
Okay.
But I think we're going to see some twig blights, or there's the woad creature, the druidic.
The wood woad?
Yes. I think we might see that too.
Okay.
So.
Well, if they do werewolves, that's going to be...
That's what Travis has been waiting for.
Well, that's going to be another link to the Feywild. Yes,
which is also one of the reasons I'm hoping for it, is because I'm like, And in the Feywild, they were in a swamp.
It's true.
So
very true.
That's why sort of my odds on is the werewolves. And also I think it would make...
I personally have a thing for hags and swamps.
Yeah.
And he seems to be going with a lot more classic things.
Yeah, but we haven't seen any of the other traditional signs you see with hags.
That's true.
So I think it's going to be werewolves with either woodwoad or twig blight, something like that. And the lycanthropes are of a CR that he can have like half a dozen of those.
Yeah.
In a fight right now.
Definitely.
So that's sort of what I'm thinking. What else do you think is going to happen this week? A few seconds left. Call it.
Call it. I think creepy guy's going to try and lose
abscond.
Yep. He's going to try and abscond.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to get them lost in the swamp.
Potentially, yeah. So, we'll tune in Thursday, find out if we're right, and we'll see
and
you guys.
Jester's going to have fun with the guards. Or not Jester, Bo.
We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. And we're going to go watch Talks Machnia now.
Bye, guys.
See ya.